In this video lesson, we will review how to retell a story, what important aspects you should add when retelling, and then we will read and retell the story down the road. So let's get started. So when retelling, looking at this anchor chart, it is important to talk about the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story. So let's talk a little bit about retelling the beginning. So if you look at that green triangle on our chart, in the beginning of the story, it's important to talk about the characters, the setting, when and where the story took place, and the conflict, if there was a problem that happened in the beginning of the story. Then you will move on to retell the middle of the story, and that is when you list important events that took place during the story. Then finally, you will retell the end of the story. If you look at that red circle, you will talk about the resolution. So how the conflict was solved. So now we are going to take a look at our story, Down the Road by Alice Shirtle, and we will retell the beginning of this story. So listen carefully, read along if you would like. Down the road. Haiti lived in a little gray house with a big stone chimney and a screen door that squeaked in a friendly way for coming and goings. In the back of the house was a tin roof shed where Papa mended other people's trucks and tractors and cars that weren't running anymore. In front of the house was a dusty road that ran through a field, up over a hill, and out of sight. Sometimes Haiti walked with Mama down the dusty road. Sometimes she walked with Papa. But Haiti had never, ever been allowed down the dusty road all by herself. One afternoon, Mama said, "Mr. Birdie's speckled hens are laying. Wouldn't fresh eggs be nice for tomorrow's breakfast?" She sighed and shook her head. "I just don't have time to walk to Mr. Birdie's. It's too bad." "Scrambled eggs for breakfast," said Papa. "If only I had the time, I'd go myself." "I can do it," said Haiti. "I'm big enough to go to Mr. Birdie's all by myself." "Well," said Mama. "Look at this big girl," said Papa. "Haiti can do it." "Mama, absolutely." Papa gave Haiti a handful of coins and a wicker basket. 1 dozen eggs, he told her. 12 big beauties, no cracks. "Be sure to say thank you to Mr. Birdie," said Mama. "Come straight home," said Papa. "Don't dilly-dally," said Mama. Do you guys think it's a good idea that her parents are trusting her to go down the road by herself? What do you guys think? Share out loud. Squeak bang went the screen door, and Haiti was on her way. She marched straight down the dusty road, swinging the basket and jingling the coins in her pocket. "This is what it's like to be grown up," she thought. "You have money in your pocket and you can go down the road all by yourself." She listened to her shoes going thump, 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 and she made up some walking words to say as she went along. Down the road, 1 and 2, eggs for breakfast, howdy-do. Eggs for breakfast, clickety-clack. Eggs for breakfast, not a crack. So now I want you guys to think about what has happened at the beginning of our story. What has happened at the beginning of our story? Share out loud. Remember, the beginning of the story, you should be talking about the setting, the characters in the story, and if there was a conflict. So I want you to retell the beginning of the story. Great job. Let's move on to see what happens next. Bump went the basket again, Hetty's knee. Bump, bump. When the basket is full of eggs, thought Hetty, I'll walk my smoothest so they won't roll around and break. She practiced walking as if she were skimming across a frozen pond on ice skates. Pretty soon her walk was so smooth that she balanced the wicker basket on her head and climbed all the way to the top of the hill before it fell off. With the basket over her arm, Hetty raced down the other side, her pigtails flying. She felt inside her pocket to make sure the coins were still there. Then she continued down the road, through a meadow, across a stream, past a house or two, down a street, around a corner, up some steps. She has a long journey to get those eggs. And into the cool shadows of Mr. Birdie's Emporium and dry goods store. Why is she in this store? What is she looking to buy? Yeah, she's looking for those 12 eggs for her family. Well now, said Mr. Birdie, here's Haiti all by herself. Good day, Mr. Birdie, said Haiti, just as Mama would have said. I'd like a dozen eggs, please. She slapped the coins down on the counter just as Papa would have done. 12 big beauties, no cracks. While Mr. Birdie put 12 big brown eggs into the wicker basket, Haiti walked slowly down a cluttered aisle, looking closely at the cans and cartons and bolts of fabric, just as if she might decide to buy something else. Before she left, she remembered to say, "Thank you, Mr. Birdie." Around the corner went Haiti, down the street, past a house or two, doing her smooth walk and holding the basket carefully so it wouldn't bump against her knees. When she came to the stream, she stopped with one foot on a fallen log. What if it wobbles? Thought Haiti. What if this log wobbles me off and I drop the eggs? She stepped down into the cold water and splashed across the stream, straight across to the other side. No use taking a chance, thought Haiti. So she's being super careful with those eggs. Squish, squish, went Haiti's wet shoes on the dusty road. Squish, 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 and Haiti said her walking words. Down the road, 1 and 2, eggs for breakfast, howdy-do. Haiti was so busy doing her smooth walk and saying her walking words and admiring the eggs in the basket that she didn't see a rock sticking up in the middle of the road. What do you guys think is going to happen? Share right now. Let's see. Haiti was so busy doing her smooth walk and saying her walking words and admiring the eggs in the basket that she didn't see a rock sticking up in the middle of the road. She walked along, getting closer to the rock with every step. Eggs for breakfast, clickety-clack. Eggs for breakfast, not a... Ouch! Uh-oh, what happened? Haiti's toe hit the rock and she stumbled forward. She had to hop and jump to keep from falling. Inside the basket, the eggs rattled together with little clinky sounds. Oh no, said Haiti. She knelt down on the road and took the eggs out of the basket. Scarcely breathing, she examined every one. Not a crack, she said with a sigh. She wiped each egg off on her shirt and put them all back inside. Now I want you guys to share out loud what has happened, what important events has happened in the middle of our story. Give you a few seconds to share out loud about the middle of our story. What has happened? Going to continue. Then she was on her way again, this time keeping a sharp eye out for obstacles on the road. It seemed like a very long road. The sun was hot, and by the time she reached the meadow, Haiti was tired. But there, in the middle of the meadow, was a big wild apple tree full of bright red apples, sweet, juicy, crackly, crisp apples. What do you guys think? Do you think she's going to keep heading home with her eggs or stop at the apple tree? Looks like she's curious. I think she might be stopping for the apples. Papa's favorite, Mama's too. Haiti herself was very fond of apples. Just 3, thought Haiti, and then I'll go straight home. She made her way through the weeds, snagging foxtails in her socks and holding the egg basket carefully in front of her. Haiti picked an apple for Mama. She picked an apple for herself. Now for a big red Papa-sized apple. She reached up, in the wicker basket just tipped a little bit. She reached higher, and the basket tipped a little more. What do you guys predict's going to happen? Do you think the eggs are going to fall out or they'll be okay? Let's find out. Splat! Haiti wanted to cry. She wanted to hide. She wanted to climb up into the apple tree and never, ever come down. She didn't want to go home and tell Papa and Mama there would be no eggs for breakfast. Up she climbed right up into the old apple tree, as high as she could go. And there she sat just thinking and feeling sad and not wanting to go home. So now I want you guys to share what else has happened in the middle of our story. Give you a few seconds to share. Keep going. After a long time, Haiti saw something moving way down the dusty road. It was Papa. Haiti made herself as small as she could. Papa, whose sharp eyes never missed a thing, came striding through the tall meadow grass. "So," he said, "this is where I find you? Is this how you bring eggs home for breakfast?" "I was picking apples for us," said Haiti with a sob. "I broke the eggs, Papa, every single one." Papa nudged the basket with the toe of his boot. "I see," he said. "And you climbed up into the tree to think it over? Suddenly, his face wrinkled into a smile. "There's no finer place than an apple tree to think things over." And Papa climbed up beside her. By the time Mama came through the meadow grass, there was a pile of apple cores underneath the tree. Look, it looks like that they were eating some apples. Haiti and Papa had chins sticky with apple juice. Mama nudged the basket with the toe of her shoe. "Just look at this. I'm waiting for 12 beautiful eggs, and what do I find? Shells?" "I'm sorry, Mama," said Haiti. "I dropped the eggs. I was trying to pick some apples." "Fine, sweet apples," said Papa. Mama stared up into the tree. "Well, well," she said. "Just look at the 2 big birds in the apple tree." Papa whistled like a magpie. "Tweet, tweet, tweet," went Haiti. Pretty soon there were 3 big birds in the apple tree. 1, 2, 3. Mama put her arm around Haiti. "I had almost forgotten how lovely the world looks from a tree," Mama said. "Everyone should spend some time in an apple tree." Papa agreed. "Absolutely." When they walked back home along the dusty road, They had not one egg among them. But Mama's skirt and Papa's pockets and Heidi's basket were full of sweet red apples. And the next morning, there was apple pie for breakfast. So was the conflict solved? Remember, the problem was that she dropped the egg. She broke all the eggs. Was there a resolution to our story? If there was, share it now. Yeah, the resolution of the story was that she found apples and they had apple pie for breakfast instead of the eggs. Okay, so after listening to the story down the road, now we are going to practice retelling the beginning of the story. So I am going to put our chart right here so you can see it a little bit. And here is our sheet. You guys will be filling out a very similar one. Let's talk about the beginning of the story. What has happened in the beginning of our story? I want you guys to practice right now retelling the beginning of our story. Give you a few seconds to share. So remember, in the beginning of the story, you want to talk about the setting, where and when the story took place, the characters, and if there was a conflict. So I know in the beginning of the story, we met Heidi, which was one of the main characters that lived in a little gray house with her parents. And I remember in the beginning of the story, her parents let her go down that dusty road for the very first time to go buy eggs. So that is what I'm going to write as the beginning of my story. I mentioned the characters. I'm mentioning where she lived. She lived in a little gray house with her parents. And there was no real conflict in the beginning, but something that was important was that her parents were going to let her go down the road for the very first time. So, for beginning, I'm going to write Heidi. Always start with a capital letter. Lived in a little gray house with her parents. Now I'm going to share how her parents let her go down the dusty road for the first time. Her parents let her go down the dusty road by herself for the first time to buy eggs. Look, if you run out of room, you can go onto the back or start another line. So let me read what I wrote about the beginning of the story. So I shared in the beginning, Heidi lived in a little gray house with her parents. So I have the setting and characters. Heidi lived in a little gray house with her parents. Her parents let her go down the dusty road by herself for the first time to buy eggs. So we just retold the beginning of the story down the road. For your optional activity today, You can fill out this graphic organizer just like I did, just filling out the beginning of the story, or you can write it on a separate sheet of paper and share it with us on Flipgrid. Bye, guys.